Very good morning, students. Welcome back to online session on data structures and algorithms course. In our previous session, we have concluded the graphs concept. We have seen the different traversal techniques that we can apply on a graph, like depth first search and breadth first search. Uh, I mean, the input to these searching techniques we are giving as a graph, and the output we are getting a spanning tree. Okay, the output we are getting a spanning tree, and being a spanning tree, you can apply any of the traversal techniques to do the traversal of that spanning tree. Okay, after concluding, we started the searching concept, and in that we discussed linear search, linear sequential search. So this linear sequential search already we are familiar in your first year itself. In your first year, first sem, you have this searching and sorting techniques in your fifth unit of PPS, Programming for Problem Solving course. Because you people are having the knowledge over there, I have not paid, I have not given that much attention towards that concept. Just we discussed the concept like a brief, and we have had the uh, code implementation as well for linear search. In today's session, we'll be seeing binary search. Okay, so quickly searching we discussed. Then so we said it is of two types: linear sequential search and interval search. Interval search is nothing but your binary search. So in every iteration, what we do, we make the list half and we repeat the same process until and unless you find the element, or the list will have only one element. In two of the cases, we are stopping our searching process. The first case is until and unless the list become the list will have only one, or we can say the first element will exceed the last element. Okay, because this procedure we already know from our first year. We are taking two what we call variables over here, one to point the beginning, the first, and one to point the end, that is last. Okay, so first last variables. Along with that, we are also taking mid variable. Okay, mid will point, mid, how we are calculating? Simply first plus last divided by 2. This formula we are using in order to calculate the mid. Okay, mid value. So mid index, whatever you are getting, simply try to find the key at that mid index. Okay, at that mid index location. And if the key is found at the mid index location, simply we say that the key is found inside the list. And if the key is not found, simply we compare the key value with the mid value. Okay, whether it is lesser, greater, how it is. If it is lesser, we ignore the second half. We ignore the second half of the list, and we consider only the first half of the list, and we repeat the same process whatever we have done for the first case. Okay, and if if the key value is greater than the mid value, then we ignore the first half and we do the searching only in the second half of the list. Okay, this is the binary search procedure. So quickly we get into that and we'll see what exactly we have over there. So this linear search, the operation and all we discussed, how we perform the searching operation in your linear search algorithm, and we have also seen the implementation. I have also shown the implementation for this linear sequential search. In today's session, we'll go with binary search, and we see what exactly we have over there to discuss. Okay, binary search, as I said, yeah, this one. So the time complexity over here, in the previous case, the time complexity was order of n. Okay, but over here, as in every iteration or in every search case or in every mismatch, simply we are subdividing the complete list into two, and we are omitting one part and we are selecting the other half. Okay, we are omitting one half and we are selecting the other half to perform the searching, to continue with this searching. So in that way, we are reducing the time complexity from order of n to order of log n. Okay, order of log n. So the binary search algorithm can be used with only sorted list of elements. We cannot apply this binary search to an unsorted list. There should be a guarantee that before applying this binary search, the list should be sorted order. Okay, the list should be sorted order. This means the binary search is used only with a list of elements that are already arranged in an order. If your list is already in an order like ascending or descending, then only you can apply this binary search algorithm. Failing which, you have to go for linear search only. Okay. Uh, yeah. All these points, I mean, how the searching is being performed exactly. So we said we are taking two variables, one to point the first element and one to point the last element, and another variable like mid, we are calculating mid equals to first plus last divided by 2. So basically first, last, mid, all these are indexes, isn't it? First index we call it as first, last index we call it as last, and mid index we are calculating mid is equals to first plus last divided by 2, and whatever value you will get, that value will become the mid index value. And immediately after finding the mid, what we are doing, we are comparing that mid index element with the key value. If it is matching, will print that element is found inside the list. Element is found inside the list. And if it doesn't match, then what we do, we go with we again we do the comparison. We check whether the key value is greater or smaller than the element at mid location. If it is greater, we go with the second half. If it is lesser, we go with the first half, likewise. And after completing all iterations, I mean, where we are stopping this searching process, when your list will have only one element, or we can also say if first value is going beyond the last value. If the first value is exceeding the last value, last index value, then ultimately we have to stop the searching process. So over here, let us assume this particular list. How many elements we have here? Total 9 elements we have. Okay, total 9 elements we have. So over here, as you can see, the first is here. First is 0. Here this is first, and this is your last. This is your last. First, last. Then mid, how we calculate? Mid is equals to first plus last divide with 2. Simple formula, isn't it? First is 0 plus last 8 divide with 2, which will be 4. So your mid will come over here, 4. Mid will come over here. Then what we have to do? Compare list of mid with key. What is key? This search element is key. Whatever elements you are searching for, that is key. So simply compare. Both are not equal, as you can see. List of mid is 50 and key is 12. Both are not equal. So what we have to do? Immediately we have to go for the comparison. We have to check whether key is greater or lesser than this list of mid. So we said list of mid is 50 and key is 12. So it is lesser. Key is lesser than the list of mid value. So over here what we are doing? Immediately our focus will be on the first part of, I mean, this mid is dividing this list into 2, isn't it? This mid is dividing this list into 2. So here the partition is, where is the partition? At 50 we have the partition. So our focus will be only the first half of the list. We will not go with the second half. Our focus will be now on first half only. Okay, so if the key is existing in the list, it will be in the first half only, because the complete list is already in sorted order, and we did the comparison with mid value and we found that key value is lesser than the mid value. So we have to focus only on the first half, because the second half will have the values which are greater than 50. The values which are greater than 50. But as we have seen, our key value is lesser than 50. So we have to go only with this part. only with this portion. We should not go with this second portion. Okay. So now after this, again what I have to do, change the last value to mid minus 1. How? I mean, whenever the key value is lesser, what we do? We change the last value. Last is equals to mid minus 1. Like this we do. Mid minus 1. So now what is my last? My last will become mid minus 1 in the sense 3. My last will become 3. So last it will come over here. Last it will come over here. The next thing what I have to do, again calculate the new mid. Calculate the new mid. Mid is equals to same formula. First, that is 0 plus last, which is 3. Okay, 0 plus 3. It is 3 only, divided by 2. It is how much? Something 1.5, isn't it? Something 1.5. But as we take all our variables, all our index values or all our variables in integer format, so it will be like 1 only. It will be like 1 only. So now quickly take the same consideration once again. Simply compare list of mid with key value. List of mid with key value. List of mid is 12. Key value is also 12. So there is an these two are equal. So what we have to do? Print the positive response. Positive response. Like key value is found inside the list, like that we found, like that we have to print. See, as simple as it is. So what we are doing in the first iteration, we are calculating the mid value and we are getting the mid value as 4. So we are comparing this 12 with mid value, and as the mid value is not matching with the key value, we are checking whether the mid value, I mean whether the key value is lesser than the mid value or greater than the mid value. It is lesser, so we are going with this first portion. And in the next iteration what we are doing, we are, because in the next iteration when you calculate first it will come over here, when you calculate last it will come over here, isn't it? So again when you calculate mid it will come over here. So immediately what we have to do, we have to do the comparison between 12 and 12. So that we are doing over here, and as it is matching 12 with 12, it is matching, we are printing that we found the element. Okay, element found at index 1, like that we are printing our positive response. This is your positive response. Positive response, like this. Hopefully you understood. So again go with 80, finding 80 inside this particular list, the same list. Okay, so again we have to do the comparison with mid value. So this is my first, this is my last, and when I calculate mid it will come over here itself. Now we are comparing the 80 with 50. So that is a list of mid, I'm comparing with key value. So what is my key value? Key value is 80 now. Okay, key value is 80. Key is 80. So that I am doing. So list of mid is 50. Key value is 80. As you can see, key value is greater. So what we have to do? Immediately focus on the second half, because as my key value is greater than the list of mid, we have to focus on second half. If it is less than, we'll focus on first half. So after this what we have to do? If the key value is greater, we will shift the first, will not shift the last. Unlike the previous case, will not shift the last, but we will shift, this time we will shift the first. Shift the first and make first as mid plus 1. Mid plus 1. So when we are shifting last, we are saying last equals to mid minus 1. But when we have to shift first, you make first as first equals to mid plus 1. So mid value is 4 plus 1. So our new first will become 5. So now first will come over here. Now first will come over here. So again calculate the new mid. Calculate the new mid. Here I am doing that one. Mid is equals to first plus last. 5 plus 8. 5 plus 8 how much? 13. Isn't it? 13 divided by 2, which will be 6. Okay, which will be 6. So in the next iteration what I have to do? Yeah, our mid will come over here. My mid will come over here. My new mid will come over here at 6th index. First is at 5th index. Here first we have here, mid we have here, and last we have here, like this. So once again what we have to do? Compare list of mid. Here I am writing compare list of mid with key value. With key value. What is list of mid now? This particular thing, 65 is list of mid, 65. And what is key value now? Key value 80. Again, it is still greater. It is still greater. So what we have to do? We have to focus. I mean, this mid, it is dividing the list into one element, two element. Like this, it is dividing. So we have to focus only on these two elements. Okay, only on this two elements, because we confirmed that list key value is greater than list of mid. So we have to focus on this only. So now what we have to do? Calculate the new first, because again we have to shift the first only. Calculate the new first. So how we can do that one? First equals to mid plus 1. First equals to mid plus 1. So what is mid? What is mid? Over here you can see what is mid. Mid is 6, as you can see in this case. Mid is 6. So 6 plus 1. So where my first will come? So first will come on 7th. First will come on 7. So this 7 will become my first, and as usual my last is at 8. As you can see here, my last is at 8 only. My first is at 7, it got shifted, and mid is at 6. So calculate the new mid. Calculate the new mid. Mid is equals to first, that is 7, plus last. What is last? 8 only. So 8, 7 plus 8, it will be like how much? 15. 15 divided by 2. Here also divided by 2. 15 divided by 2, which is equals to 7. So mid is coinciding with first now. Mid is also here. First is also here at 7 only. So now once again what we have to do? Do the comparison between list of mid and the list of mid and key value. So what is list of mid? List of mid is 80. As you can see, my mid is over here. My mid is over here. So list of mid is 80. What is key? 80. So we found the match now. As you can see, we found the match. So element is found at 7th key, 7th index. We can print like that. Element is found at index value 7. Like that you can print. As you can see here, we found the element inside the list. So in this way, we perform the binary search algorithm. So we will see the implementation for this binary search algorithm. So quickly I will go to the dev cpp and I will write that program here. So simply start narrating the code. Okay. So what we have to do? Start a new file. The same logic whatever I have done just now on your PPT, the same logic I will apply over here. As you can see, first start writing the program, not IOStream, then using namespace std, okay, then int main of void, then yeah, I need my first, last, mid, then size of the list, I to run the loop, key value to store. I'm taking some 100 elements in my list. So you can calculate up to 100 elements. You can take the list up to 100 elements. So first what I am doing, print a message, size, read the size, how many elements you want inside your list. So enter the size of the list, size of the list. Then read it, cin into size. I'm reading the size into size variable. Then what we are doing, we have to enter those many elements, isn't it? Cout, enter how many elements? Size elements equal to the size. Enter size integers, integer values in any of the particular order, either in ascending or descending you have to, because you need a sorted list. We can perform the sorting also, but again the code will become more complex. So as I said, as much as possible try to minimize the code, because in your examination you will not get that much of time. So if they ask binary search to do, write this code only, that's enough. Okay, don't include, I mean, many codes, if you search for this binary search algorithm on internet, what they will do, first they will write the code to perform the sorting, because they will consider that you will input the unsorted list. You will input the unsorted list. Based on that consideration, what they will do, they will first show you how to sort it and then to apply the binary search. We are not going in that way. We are going specific to the concept. Of course, we know how to sort the list also, but we don't write unnecessary stuff when they are asking us to write only binary search. We'll write to the point answer over there. So that is the reason why we are assuming that the user will input the list in ascending order, because we are asking him to enter in ascending order. So enter size number of integer values in ascending order. Ascending order. Then keep one backslash n at the end and close this one. Then what we have to do, use a loop to read all those values. For all integer I equals to 0, I must be less than how many? Size element, size number of elements, then I plus plus. Use a scanf statement, that is, sorry, cin statement to read all those into where? List of I. List of I. That's it. Okay, now the list is with us. Now the list is with us. So now what we have to do, key element, key we have to read. Okay, cout, enter key value to be search. To search. Enter key value to search. So let us assume we are entering that and we are reading that one into, not this one only, into where? S key. We are reading that into S key. So after that, make first as 0, because initially we are making first to the first index and last to the size minus 1. Isn't it? Last to size minus 1. Last index value. Maximum size minus 1. Then mid, how we are calculating? Mid is equals to first plus last divided with 2. That's it. First plus last divided with 2. Here you take just as a confirmation. Anyhow, your operator precedence will evaluate the division operator first, but just for our confirmation, we are taking that parenthesis. Okay. Then take a while loop. While first, it should not cross the last, isn't it? First should always be less than or equals to last. It should not cross last. When it is crossing last, then we are concluding our search operation, that the element is not there in the list. Okay, like that we are concluding. But if yeah, as long as we how long we have to continue, this means as long as the first value is less than or equals to last. Okay, then inside it, what we have to do, if at all my list of mid is less than is list of mid is less than S key. If at all my list of mid is less than S key, then what I have to do, make the corrections. First equals to mid plus 1. As I said, first always we modify like this. First is equals to mid plus 1. Else if, yeah, remove this one, as we have only one statement over here, no need to take this compound statement. Okay. Then else if, here I am keeping more statements. What I am doing, list of mid is equals to I'm simply doing the comparison, is equals to S key. So then what I have to do, yes, here I am performing more operations. So element cout, element is found at index, because it will be found at mid only, right? At index mid. Okay, then here only you break the loop. Here only you break the loop. Else what we have to do, in the else case, that means if the list of mid is greater than 1, then what we have to do, make the correction as last equals to last minus, sorry, mid minus 1. Last equals to mid minus 1. This correction. Then again after this, calculate the new mid. Mid is equals to first plus last divided by 2. And if at all you are coming out of this loop, coming out of this while loop, simply check one more time if first is greater than last. If at all this one is correct, then see out. Means if you are exceeding, if you are crossing that loop, while loop means ultimately the element is not there in the list. So simply we are checking one more time, just we are checking and we are printing, because there is a possibility that the loop will exit because of some other reason. Okay, even when the element is found, we are exiting with the help of break. So break, what it will do, it will simply make this to cross this loop, makes this to cross this loop. So after crossing, if you put that directly without checking this one, so this message, two messages you will get. This message, element is found and element is not found, like the two messages you will get. So that is the reason why whenever you are breaking over here, element is found, simply we are checking this condition one more time and we are printing this message. If this condition is not true, we will not print this message, and if this condition is true, then only we print this message. Okay, see out, element not found, element not found in the list, in the list. That's it, element not found in the list. And wherever it is required, you can have your backslash n's. Here you put one backslash n, and here also you put one backslash n, and go to end and put the semicolon. That's it. This much of code you have to write to perform the binary search. And if they ask, it is an important question, binary search, sequential search, it is an important question. Definitely you have to remember this one. Code is very simple, concept is very simple. So binary search dot cpp, hit the enter key, program got saved, compile, compilation successful as you can see, then execute. So it is asking me to enter the size of the list. So let us say I'm entering the size as 5. Now enter 5 integer values in ascending order, it is saying. So I have to enter like 45 space 56 space 78 space 87 space 92. Okay, now hit the enter. 5 values it read into the list. Then it is asking me to search, to enter the key to search. So I'm entering like 15. I'm entering like 15. Then hit the enter key. Element not found in the list. You are getting the output as element not found in the list. Close this one. Go again and compile, and then execute. Execute. Again it is asking me to enter the size. This time I am giving the size as 6. Now it is asking me to enter the list 45, 52, 56, 73, 98. Yeah, they are 6. So now it is asking me to enter the key value. I am giving the key value like 45. 45 is found at index 1. 45 is found at index 1. Like that it is giving a message to you. Hopefully you understood how we are performing the binary search. So quickly we go to our slide and we see what other concepts we have over there. So after the binary search, we have sorting techniques. Sorting is nothing but arranging the elements in a particular order, either in ascending or in descending. Isn't it? Sorting is something arranging the elements either in increasing order or in decreasing order. In either of the way, you can say that your list is sorted. Okay. A sorting algorithm is used to rearrange a given array or list of elements according to a comparison operator on the list. How you are doing the comparison? Whether you are arranging them in ascending order or whether you are arranging them in descending order, the comparison operator completely depends on that one. Okay, if you are arranging them in ascending order, always look for a greater element so that it should be pushed to the last. And if you are arranging them in descending order, always look for a smallest element which should be pushed to the last. Push the smallest element to the last in descending order. and push the larger element or greatest element to the last in ascending order. Likewise, we do the sorting algorithm. Okay, the comparison operator is used to decide the new order of elements in the respective data structure. So whenever you are doing the you are sorting the list, you are rearranging the list, simply we use the comparison operators. Okay, so go to the next slide. See different algorithms we have to sort the elements in a given list. So they are selection sort, bubble sort, insertion sort, quick sort, merge sort, and heap sort. These 6 sorting techniques we need to discuss under this sorting concept. Hopefully you understood. So searching, 2 types of searchings we discussed, graphs concept we have completed, and after these sortings we have one another concept, that is hashing, that also we have to discuss. So quickly I will go with the first 2 sorting techniques in this particular session, and the remaining 4 we will discuss in one more session. Okay, remaining 4 we will discuss in one more session, and after that we will be left out with only hashing technique, that is another one class. Hopefully we will conclude the syllabus soon as possible in hardly 2 more classes or 3 more classes, I can say. Okay, after that we practice few of your previous year university question papers. That is very important. Before letting you to write the external exams or letting you to write the second mid exams, we need to practice the previous year university question papers. Okay, hopefully we do that one as well. Okay, so selection sort we see quickly. So selection sort algorithm is used to arrange the list again in a particular order. If you can apply this selection sort algorithm to arrange the list either in ascending order or in descending order. Not only selection sort, whatever sorting technique you take, whatever sorting technique from these 6, you can apply these sorting techniques whether to arrange the elements in ascending or whether to arrange the elements in descending. Okay, in selection sort the first element in the list is selected and it is compared repeatedly with all other remaining elements in the list. So what we do, first element we take and we compare with all other elements, and whenever the element is greater, let us say the first element, if it is greater than any other element, what we do, simply we do the swapping. Simply we do the swapping, and if it is lesser than the other element, whatever comparison you are doing, we don't do anything, we'll remain calm, we don't do anything. Whenever the compared element is greater than, I guess, okay, let me just check that one. Yeah, whenever the compared element is greater, uh, then only we perform the swapping, and whenever the compared element is lesser, we don't do anything. Okay, so like that you can remember. Yeah, here you can read that one. The third statement, if any element is smaller than the selected element for ascending order, then both are, yeah, this is for ascending order, then both are swapped so that the position is filled with the smallest element in the sorted list. Okay, next we select the element at the second position in the list and it is compared with all remaining elements in the list. Likewise we do the comparison in different iterations. So if you have n number of elements inside your unsorted list, then in order to sort that list completely, we need n number of iterations. We need how many iterations? N number of iterations. Okay. So quickly see, select the first element of the list. This is the algorithm what we follow in order to arrange the, in order to perform the selection sort, we can say. So select the first element of the list, that is element at first position in the list. Then compare the selected element with all the other elements in the list. So all the other means not at once, one by one. First we start with the adjacent element, the element very next to the selected element. We go in that way. Then yeah, if nothing has to be done with that element, we'll go to the next element. Okay, likewise we continue till we reach the end of the list. Okay, so in every comparison, if any element is found smaller than the selected element, if any of the element, or We can say if the first element is greater or the other element is smaller, both are same, right? Both are same meaning. If any other element, whenever you are doing the comparison with the first element, if other element is smaller, simply swap. If the other element is greater, don't do any swapping. Like that, you remember. In every comparison, if any element is found smaller than the selected element, then both are swapped. Repeat the same procedure with elements in the next position in the list till the entire list is sorted. So that is the algorithm. So over here, what we have to do, yeah, as I have, let me just delete that line. I will delete this line. Okay, now, okay, so this is what we have over here. So this is my index 0, index 1, index 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 finally. Like this I have, and I'm performing what type of sorting algorithm? Selection sort. Selection sort. So what I have to do, how this selection sort will proceed? First, I have to select the index 0 element, the first element in the list. Okay, because as you can see, this list is unsorted list. Then what I have to do the comparison with the immediate element. Do the comparison with immediate element. If this element is, I mean, the whatever element you are comparing, if that element is greater than the selected element, then don't do anything. Don't do anything. Keep that thing as it is and do the comparison between these two. Okay, these two. Over here, as you can see, when you are doing the comparison between these two, as you can see here, 15, it is greater than 10. Then what we have to do? Immediately swap these two. Immediately, that complete operation here I have shown. So first, in the first case, as we said, both the the 15 first element is smaller than the second element. So we are printing, we are saying false, and we are not doing anything. We are keeping as it is. And then again, we are comparing the first element, that is 0th index element, at second index element, 2 index element. And here, the element is smaller. The 10 value is smaller than 15. So what we have to do? Do the swapping. Do the swapping. So what will happen? Automatically 10 will come over here and 15 will go over there. 15 will go at the third position and 10 will come at the first position. Same thing happened over here. So now just skip that 15 and go to the next element. Do the comparison between 10 and 30. 10 and 30 here. 10 and 30 are compared. As you can see, 30 is greater. 30 is greater, so don't do anything. Don't do anything. Or when you are writing this condition over here, it will become false. This condition is becoming false. As you can see, this particular condition, whatever we have written over here, this is becoming false. So whenever the condition is becoming false, don't do any swapping. Okay, don't do any swapping and go to the next element. So now we are doing the comparison between 50 and 10. Now we are doing the comparison between 50 and 10. So in that case, 10 is greater than 50, we are saying. Again, this particular condition is false. So don't do anything. Don't do anything. So now go to the next element once again. Now do the comparison between 10 and 18. 10 and 18. So again, 10 is greater than 18, we said, this particular condition. It is false. So don't do anything. Okay. Go to the next element. Then 10, we are comparing with 5 now. So 10 is greater than 5. 10 is greater than 5. This is true. As over here we got a true case. Again, we got a true case over here. So this is true. When this is true, what we have to do? Simply swap. Simply swap. So 5 will go here and 10 will come here like this. We perform the swapping over here. 5 will go here, 10 will come here. The same thing we performed, and 5 we are seeing over here, and we are moving to the next element, that is 45, and doing the comparison. 5 is greater than 45. This is false. This is false. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. So after first iteration, this is only the first iteration. Don't think that we have concluded the complete sorting operation. It is not like that. We have completed only the first iteration. After first iteration, the smallest element will come in the first position and rest of all are still unsorted. Rest of all are still unsorted. So in the next, after first iteration, only one element is coming in its right position. After first iteration, only the first element is coming in its right position. So still the remaining list from the second element to the last element, from the second element to the last element, it is still unsorted. So again, in the second iteration, what we will do, second iteration, we will select the second element. In the second iteration, we will select the second element and we apply the same operation, whatever we have seen from here to here. We'll apply the same operation. The same operation what we did from here to here, that same in another step, another iteration we will apply. And after second iteration, what will happen? You will get the second element in its right position, that is 10. Over here, as you can see, 10 is the second smallest element. 10 is the second smallest element, so 10 will come in the second position. And in the third iteration, 15 is the smallest element, so 15 will come in its position in the third iteration. As you can see, iterations I have written over here. Second iteration, second element is coming in its right position. Third iteration, third element is coming in its right position. Fourth element, in fourth iteration, it is coming in right position. As you can see, 18. So likewise, in the fifth iteration, what will happen? 20 will come over here. Fifth iteration, as you can see, 20 it came over here. Okay, in the fifth iteration, 20 value it came to its right position. Then in sixth iteration, 30 will come in its right position in sixth iteration. As you can see, this one 30. And in seventh iteration, what will happen? The last 45, I mean, we should not say last, 45 will come in its right position, and 50 automatically, if there is only one, there is no point of doing the comparison and sorting it or changing it, swapping it, something. So ultimately what will happen? The final sorted list after seventh iteration, because how many elements we have here? 3, 4, 4, 8. So we said n minus 1 iterations. After n minus 1 iterations, you will get the sorted list. In the first iteration, first element. Likewise, in the seventh iteration, last but one element. And eighth element, as there will be only one element, there is no point of performing any kind of sorting for one element. So by default, we will consider that last element as sorted. So if there are n number of elements into your unsorted list, then before you get the sorted list, you need to perform n minus 1 iterations. How many iterations? N minus 1 iterations that we are seeing over here. As we have 8 elements in my list and I performed only 7 iterations to before getting the sorted list, and this is my sorted list. Here, this is my sorted list. You can remember like this. So quickly we go. Time complexity, in the worst case, it is order of n square. Best case, in all cases, n square only. So quickly we see the program for implementing this selection sort algorithm. Selection sort algorithm. So again, we have to start. Okay, how we have to start? Yeah, include your header file. IO stream, then int main of void. Okay, here you take again, yeah, using namespace std, I forgot here. Using namespace std you put, and here size, then you take I, then you take j, then you take temp list of 100. Just for our simplicity, I am taking 100 elements. Next thing, we have to enter the size. For all the algorithm, these things are very common. Okay, enter the size of the list. What size you want for your list, that you have to enter over here. Then after that, read that size into size variable. Read that size into size variable. Then after, what we have to do? Enter that many number of elements. Size equal to the size. Enter space. Here you put size. Okay. Then integer values. integer values. That's it. Okay, here you put the semicolon, then take a loop. For reading those, take a loop. For all I equals to 0, I must be less than size I plus plus. Just read that one. So how we can, for all I equals to 0, I must be less than size I plus plus Cin of list of I. No, yeah, list of I. Okay, list of I. Then now the list is with us. So what we have to do now? Perform the logic, selection sort logic. The simple logic you can see, only two for loops. Int I equals to 0, I must be less than size I plus plus. Okay. Then we have to take another loop, for loop, for all j equals to I plus 1. Only this thing you have to remember. J must also be less than size and j plus plus. Only that thing you have to remember, because in every iteration what we are doing, we are just increasing the what we call increasing the index value, isn't it? In the first iteration we are starting from 0, in the second iteration starting from 1, third iteration starting from 2. Likewise, in every iteration we are just increasing the index value. So if at all my list of I, isn't it, list of I is greater than list of j, then what we are doing? Swapping. Perform the swapping. That swap is take a temporary variable. Temp we have declared on top. Yes, we have declared. So temp equals to list of I. Okay, temp equals to list of I. Then list of I equals to list of j. Simply swapping operation, normal swapping operation. Swapping two numbers, many times we discussed, using a temporary variable. Okay, list of I equals to list of j. Then list of j is equals to temp. List of j equals to temp. Only this much of code you have to write. And after all these loops, before closing the main function, you have to print the list, because it is in sorted order now. Cout list after list, take L capital, list after sorting, list after selection sort, like that you print selection, because you are performing selection sort here. Selection sort is, put a semicolon over here. Now take, because it is a list, take another for loop. I equals to 0, I must be less than size I plus plus. Okay, how we can print? Cout, give some space in between. Then what we can do? List of I you print. List of I. That's it. Here you put semicolon. That's it. Here if you want you can take backslash n, just to have the sorted list in the next line. So save it. So I'm giving program name as selection sort dot cpp. Selection sort dot cpp. Compile. Compilation, hopefully it is successful. Once again I'm doing compilation because I got some issue. Okay, no errors. Then run. List is asking me to enter 6 elements. I am taking 6 integers. It is asking me 8, 4, 3, 7, 89, 76. How many? 5 over, right? 2000. How many? 8, 4, 3, 89, 76, 2000. 6 elements. Hit enter. See, list after selection sort is 3, 4, 8, 76, 89, 2000. It is arranged, I mean, the complete list is arranged in sorted order. Okay, hopefully you understood. So the next thing is a bubble sort. Okay, next thing is, so after selection sort we have to go for the next sorting technique, which is a bubble sort. See, this bubble sort algorithm, it is also used, it is also one of the sorting technique to sort the given list. Whatever list is provided, in order to sort that list, we can go for this bubble sort. Bubble sort is a simple algorithm which is used to sort a given list, a given set of n elements provided in the form of an array with n number of elements. Okay, whatever elements you have, simply apply this bubble sort algorithm to get the sorted list. Bubble sort compares all the elements one by one and sort them based on their values. Again, all sorting techniques based on their values only they will do, just as a point we are discussing over here. Okay, so here how we do the sorting basically. Starting with the first element, again here also we do the we start the sorting technique from the first element, that is index 0 element. Okay, compare the current element with the next element of the array, the adjacent element, the very next element to the first element. We are doing the comparison between. If the current element is greater than the next element of the array, okay, current element, if it is going greater, same like your previous case, if it is greater than the first element, simply swap. Simply swap. If the current element is less than the next element, move to the next element. Here what we do whenever we are performing swapping, or whenever we are performing whenever we are not performing anything, simply we leave the first element and we'll jump to the next element. Okay, in the current iteration itself we'll jump to the next element. Okay, repeat the same procedure with elements, all the elements in the next position in the list till the entire list is sorted. Repeat, I mean, whatever you have done when at the first element, the same procedure you have to repeat for all the elements until and unless your complete list will get sorted. So I will explain that one. See, consider this as your list to be sort 5, 1, 6, 2, 4, 3. Like this we have. This list is unsorted list. This list is unsorted list. So here how we are performing the sorting operation. So first what we are doing, we are comparing the first two elements. We are comparing the first two element 5, 1. Okay, 5, 1. As they are, here you can see the first two element 5, 1, where 5 is greater. So whenever like this you are getting 5 is greater than 1, always, yeah, if like this, simply what we have to do, 5 is greater than 1, so perform the interchange. Perform the interchange. We are swapping 5 to here, 1 to here, and at the same time we are doing the comparison. I mean, we are leaving 1 and we are doing the comparison between, because after swapping what will happen, 5 will come over here, 1 will come over here. That step I am not writing over here. So 5 will come over here, 1 will come over here. So ultimately what we have to do in the next iteration, in the second step, we should not say this as an iteration. This entire thing is an iteration. This entire thing, whatever we are keeping over here, is an iteration. So in the next second step, what we have to do, just forget about 1. Forget about 1 and do the comparison between 5 and 6. Do the comparison between 5 and 6. Okay, 5 is lesser than 6. Only if the first element is greater, then only you have to perform swapping. If the first element is lesser, don't perform any swapping. So as my first element is lesser, no swapping. And simply without performing any swapping, previously we have started from here, these two. Then we compared these two. Now you do the comparison between these two, 6 and 2. Okay, as 6 is, see, in my previous case I stick to the first element only until and unless I am reaching the end of the list. I stick to that first element only. But over here what I am doing, I am moving as my consideration is changing from element to element. I am moving in the same iteration itself. Okay, so now I am comparing 6 with 2. As 6 is greater than 2, we have to perform swap. Whenever there is less than, don't perform any swapping. Okay, whenever there is greater than, simply perform swapping. Okay, here also it is greater. As you can see, the symbol we have greater, so we need to perform swapping. Okay, perform the swapping. So now we have to shift 6 here, 2 will come over here. Then when you are performing 6 here, 2 here, immediately do the comparison between 6 and 4 that we are doing over here. 6 and 4. As 6 is greater, okay, as 6 is greater, do the interchange once again. So what will happen? 4 will come over here, 6 will go over here. Once again, do the comparison between 6 and 3. Leave about 4, do the comparison between 6 and 3. So that 6 and 3 comparison here we are doing. Again greater than. So perform interchange. So once again we are performing. 3 will come over here, 6 will go over here. Automatically what will happen in bubble sort means your greatest element will be bubbled. After each iteration, what will happen? The greatest element will be bubbled to the last, okay, to the end of the list. The greatest element will be automatically bubbled to the end of the list. As you can see, we were having greatest element somewhere in the middle. Before we started this bubble sort, we were having this greatest element somewhere in the middle, but when we performed this bubble sort first iteration, after first iteration, the greatest element, which is 6, automatically bubbled to the last location. Bubble to the last location. So that is the reason why it is something like the air bubbles are reaching the top of the uh, air surface. I mean, air bubbles are reaching the top of the water surface. Okay, how? Automatically they will bubbled. They will be bubbled. So in that same way, what is happening over here? The greatest elements are automatically bubbling to the end of the list. When you are performing this bubble sort algorithm, the greatest elements are automatically bubbling to the end of the list. So that is the reason why the name bubble sort is given over here. So this is only the after first iteration. So if you go to the second iteration, 5 will be automatically bubbled. What will happen? Because 5, as you can see over here, the next greatest element is 5, that is at the second location. So after performing the second iteration, what will happen? That 5 will be automatically bubbled to the second location. 6 is first location, second location, likewise in the reverse order. Then 4, we have 4, so that 4 will come over here. So now 3 elements. After third iteration, 3 elements got bubbled. Then after fourth iteration, third will come over here. After fifth iteration, 2. After sixth iteration, 1. Likewise, how many iterations we need? Overall, we need 5 iterations in order to perform the bubble sort algorithm with 6 elements. N elements in the sense, how many iterations? N minus 1 iterations. N elements, N minus 1 iterations. N minus 1 iterations. So this sorting technique will also require order of n square time complexity. Order of n square time complexity, bubble sort. So quickly we see the implementation of this bubble sort as well. So we'll go to the IDE, take the empty source file and start writing your code. Okay, here also we'll do the same approach. First we declare the variables, then first we read the list, then we perform the bubble sort, and finally we print the list. That's it. Okay, so hash include IO stream, then using namespace std, then int main of void. Okay, then int list of 100 comma I comma j comma size comma temp. Okay, then cout, enter the enter the size of the list, or enter the size of the list, whatever you want, whatever you understand, that you can write over here. Backslash n, no need of backslash n because it is a single digit. So put the semicolon at the end and read that value into the size. Okay, now the size is with us. So now what we have to do, read the elements. So enter space, how many elements, equal to the size. Okay, enter size integer values. Sorry, not here. Go here. I don't know how I reached over there. So then integer values. Put the semicolon at the end and close the semicolon. Just check the time. Okay, still we have some time. So we will complete this and we'll conclude this session. Okay, so integer values. Then what we have to do, using a for loop, read all those values. For all I equals to 0, I must be less than what? I must be less than the size. Then I plus plus. So after this, read all those values. C in, okay, list of I. Okay, put the semicolon at the end, and after that perform the bubble sort logic. It is also a what we call two for loops. For all I equals to 0, I must be less than size. Outer for loop will be like this for many of the sorting techniques. Then take the inner for loop. Inner for loop, we start with j is equals to 0. J must be less than size of I, size minus 1 minus I minus 1, like that you put. Size minus I minus 1. Then j plus plus, like this. So inside it, sorry, my mistake here. Take another compound statement. If at all your list of j is greater than list of j plus 1. Okay, if this is true, then swap. Swap. How we can swap? Take the temporary equals to list of j, okay. Then list of j equals to j plus 1, list of, because always we are moving and we are comparing the adjacent element only. Okay, list of j equals to list of j plus 1, j plus 1. Then list of j plus 1 equals to temp. List of j plus 1 equals to temp, like this. Put the semicolon at the end. Then 1 2 3 closing. And if at all you are reaching to this point, that means already your list is completely sorted using the bubble sort technique. Sorted list in bubble sort. Bubble sort backslash n, put the semicolon at the end. And to print the list, one more for loop, you can take I equals to 0. I must be less than size, okay. Then I plus plus, okay. Cout, give some space, then print that list of I. So in this way you can print the complete list. Hopefully you understood. So that's it. This is how we perform. Only this particular logic you have to remember. Rest of the thing, it is exactly same in your previous type of, sorry, there is something gone wrong. Nothing. Put the semicolon at the end and save the program. Here this is bubble sort.cpp, okay. Then go to compile. Compilation is successful. Here I must be equals to 0. I kept 0, okay. Then save it, compile it. It is successful. Then run it. Okay, it is asking me to enter the list size. Same 6 I am giving. Some random values 4, 32, 1, 45, 18, 27, 6 only, right? Yeah, 6 values I have entered. So hit the enter key. As you can see, all my list values are in sorted order from smallest to the largest, ascending order we can say. 1, 4, 18, 27, 32 and 45. In this way we can perform the bubble sort algorithm. See, the two searching techniques we have seen and two sorting techniques we have seen. The sorting techniques where they are differing means only these for loops. Rest of the code it is exactly same. Only these two for loops you have to remember. And two for loops and one if condition. In both bubble sort and selection sort and bubble sort, only those things will differ. Okay. 4 more sorting techniques we have, like after this, like what are they? We have bubble sort we discussed, like we have insertion, merge, quick and heap. Insertion, merge, quick and heap and yes, insertion, quick, merge and heap. These 4 sorting techniques we'll discuss in tomorrow's session hopefully. Thank you very much students.